We have one of my coworkers with us. We have Brian Steck from the Partnership for Economic Development. Brian, do you want to give us a little bit of an intro on you real quick?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Brian Steck. I work with Kayla at the Partnership for Economic Development, and I focus on workforce development. Erica, who's one of the other speakers, and I work together all the time on a coalition called Employ LNK, Employ Link, where we work together across agencies to help people connect from part-time jobs to full-time careers. So our focus is really on people whose skills are being underutilized, people who are underemployed, people who are working 3 part-time jobs when their dream is they really want to become a nurse or get into manufacturing or whatever the case may be. So that's my professional world. I moved here 9 years ago from New York City. I used to work in a consulting firm on Wall Street. I met my now wife of almost 9 years, Janelle Walther, in the hallway of the university. I asked her out on a date because I had per diem money, so thanks corporate America. And I quit and I came out here to Nebraska, and we just had our daughter, Miriam. She's a month old now, which is very exciting. She's upstairs, kind of asleep, kind of, sort of. So I was in Europe before this. I was in the Peace Corps in Kazakhstan. I've lived in Spain and Russia and a few other places and had some amazing experiences. And I really love working here in Lincoln, and I look forward to this conversation. So thanks for having me.
Next, I'm going to have Erica Susek with the Department of Labor introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Erica Soshik. I'm the Business Services Rep for the Nebraska Department of Labor. In addition to all that Brian says that we work on, within my Department of Labor job, it's my job to help businesses use the AnyWorks account. Maybe it's kind of working on a retention plan or on a recruiting plan, making sure that we're getting businesses connected to all of the to all those kind of hidden job seekers or the different grants, that kind of stuff that would be available to you. And I work here, so I represent the Lancaster and Saunders County area, but I've got cohorts all across the state, so absolutely can get people connected when we need to.
Awesome, thank you. Next, we have Jessica Schumacher with Nelnet.
Hi, I'm Jessica Schumacher, and I work at Nelnet. I am a People Services Program Manager there. So essentially what I get to do is oversee our campus recruiting team as well as our internship program, and then work a lot on the culture and onboarding initiatives that we have within the organization. So essentially the best way to sum up what I get to do is bring people to Nelnet, make them feel at home, make them feel happy and like they want to stay, and then help them grow within the organization.
Great. Well, this morning we're talking about making lemonade from those lemons, and we all know what that lemon is. And we know we can't add any vodka and we can't give it back and ask for coffee. So let's talk about how the last 8 months have looked. I'm going to start with Brian, and he's going to talk about how his whole world has changed.
Yeah, so, before March, before COVID really took off, my job was really to think about that person who's working at the gas station who wants to get into construction, manufacturing, healthcare, and really changed. So on average, and Erica will probably talk about this a little bit too, about 100 people a week file for unemployment in Lancaster County on average, just going back a few years. Since March, we've had 31,000 people apply for unemployment. So we are multiples and multiples ahead of what is normal. In fact, even last week, we still had 400 more people apply for unemployment insurance. So we're still 4x where we were before, where normal is. So Erica and myself and others, we're really focused on these Lancaster County residents. Of that 31,000, right about 8,000 are still receiving benefits. So those other 22,000, either they got jobs or they came off the system because they didn't comply with the rules, or something happened that they're no longer receiving benefits. So we're also working with folks who were on unemployment but aren't before. The idea of this is that how can we help people who've been affected by layoffs, largely in the service and hospitality sector? That's most of what we're looking at, in addition to lots of small businesses. You think about catering companies, wedding companies, oh man, people who do photography, things like that, they've had a very slow 6 months. A lot of it's spooling back up, but a lot of folks are really starting to think about what's another career that I can get into. So a lot of what we're doing is how can we highlight opportunities in industries that are growing? You think about customer service, you think about manufacturing, construction, and healthcare. The trick is, and if any of you have ever changed industries as young adults, or maybe you have a brother or sister or a parent, it's really challenging to ask a 36-year-old bartender who's worked in the restaurant industry since he was 19 years old to be like, you know what, you should do manufacturing. You should go into construction. Most people want to do what they came from.
Brian,
He really wants to go back to his, yes.
you froze.
Oh no. Is it back?
Yes.
Oh, sorry everyone. I had to have a shot of vodka to keep myself going because Kayla reminded me. So, just real quick, what we're really trying to think about is what are the strategies to get people into new careers. So Southeast Community College has scholarships. We have this amazing opportunity from Google. We got $300,000 from Google. So let's say Shea Svoboda is a Sudanese dentist. He is from the Sudan and he is a dentist. In America, you are not a dentist. You are probably working an entry-level job somewhere making $9-10 an hour. So we got this $300,000 from Google, and what we're doing is we're building out career pathways so Shea can understand exactly what he needs to do to get his transcript, get his diploma, get it translated, and then really work his way through the professional network of dentistry to get back to where he wants to be. So we're doing that for healthcare, law, education, teaching, and accounting, which are the largest college degrees among our new American immigrant and refugee population, to get people back into careers. It's super exciting. There's tons of refugees and immigrants here who have college degrees from their home country. So what I hope you're hearing is that Erica and I are working across all the different workforce agencies to help people affected by layoffs get into new careers, whether that's at Nelnet or Huddle or anywhere else. We've had some good luck in manufacturing. We're also thinking about our new Americans, and we're also thinking about strategies to help adults who've never done anything in another industry get into the industries that are currently hiring. And I'm going to have more vodka now.
Brian, can you actually talk a little bit about the drive-through career fairs?
Oh, yeah, sure. So Kayla told me what to talk about. I don't know if you guys know this. Kayla's kind of bossy. I don't know. That's not a gendered statement. She's just bossy. But I didn't do it, so now I'm going to get told. So our drive-through career fairs are really exciting. What we've done is we just have people drive right up, and we print packets of information. So Nelnet participated, and Jess is on this panel. It's like a one-pager that talks about Nelnet's opportunities. So that way people can take that information home, just like they would get in a regular career fair, but there's no interaction. They can go back and really think about what are careers that are good fits for them. We also have information about our American Job Center. The American Job Center is a free place where people can go in person right now to get help on resumes, job assistance, things like that. So that way they're getting a resource on how to apply, but also information about the jobs they're hiring. What we often hear from people who've been laid off is like, listen, I just don't know who's hiring. Like, I've always worked in restaurants. I've always worked in hotels. So this is a way for us to equip our Lancaster County neighbors with the information that they need to be successful. This is all free for the people coming in. And we've had 3 of these events, and we've given out 1,500 packets of information to people looking to start new careers.
Awesome. Thank you. Next, I'm going to take it. And yes, I might be a little bit bossy, but sometimes, your coworkers get to see these things about you, right? Next, we're going to pass it on to Erica. Erica, I'm going to share my screen so that your PowerPoint can come up, and just give me a little nod when you want me to go to the next one.
Can you skip through the first one and just go to the second one, the tips for employers? No, he is bossy. Brian is bossy, and not so much Kayla. I think Kayla is a joy personally.
How many slides am I going in, Erica?
You just go to the next one.
This one? Can you all see my screen?
Yep, go one more.
Okay. Oh. Oh, this one. Okay.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. All right. So when working in with everything that Brian has said, it is, again, it is my job to make sure that businesses are finding those connections, and it's my job to make sure that we're offering these services for free. It's the State Department of Labor. So I'm here really to work with you as the business in whatever piece it is that you're needing. And if I can't find that connection for you, it's my job to reach out and do the sleuthing for you and help make sure that I get you that correct information. I can't tell you a lot about labor law. I can't tell you a lot about unemployment, but I absolutely know those people who can, and I will be more than happy to get you connected to the right people to get the most up-to-date information on everything. But my job within the employment and training piece is to really focus on the AnyWorks program, or the AnyWorks website. So as we just kind of go through some of these things, AnyWorks is always free. It is, in fact, Nebraska's largest job board. So, when you think about all the numbers of everybody who is, in fact, filing for unemployment, they have to do that every week, and they have to do job searches every single week, and they have to do it on AnyWorks. So it just kind of makes sense that if you are, in fact, trying to advertise and try to find some new people, it makes sense to use the AnyWorks website. Plus, it's free. And there's other websites that come and will pull information. So there's a lot of information sharing. But if you're needing help with any of that, let me know. I'll be more than happy to help you. I'm not going to write it for you, but I absolutely am here and to help you, give you those tips and keys on how to make a really great job description and get people sent over your direction. And we can help get referrals sent to you to make sure that we're getting some good qualified applicants sent over as well. Like I had said before, there's somebody in every area, depending on where you're at. There's actually 2 up in Omaha. They're great. And also, as Brian had mentioned, the American Job Center is a great resource for everybody. And there's an American Job Center actually in every region across the entire country. So we're all working together on the same goal. So if we move over to the next slide.
Is this the slide that you wanted, Erica?
Then the next one where it says ONET, slide 3.
This is what I have for slide 3.
Kayla, I think we might be seeing your primary display instead of a second one.
Yeah.
Like we're seeing.
Oh,
Yep.
Well, okay. Hold on one second.
Oh, go back one more. There we go.
Are you guys seeing it in slideshow form or in?
No, we're seeing the presenter view with the slides on the side and the main slide in the window.
Okay, that's what I thought. Now do you see the full one? Oh,
No, but it's all right. We can run it this way.
You're probably fine there.
It works. It just kind of helps give the idea. There we go. So I really wanted to highlight on these next 2 screens, the ONET Online is something that we always use in addition to the AnyWorks website. This is a really, really good website, especially for anybody who is in HR. This is a federally funded, federally based website that you can go in up at the top where it says occupation quick search, and you can type in any job description or any job title that you would have, and it's going to compare everything. And it's going to compare the wages on the local level clear up to, back up to the federal.
I figured out how to do it. So keep going. And.
Perfect. So when we want to make sure that everybody knows about this, because if you are tasked with you have to write the new job description because you guys have had to do some combining of jobs due to layoffs or budget cuts or whatever. This is a great website that's going to give you perfectly worded statements, but it's also going to give you a really good comparison as to where everybody else is at pay-wise. So if you yourself are job searching and you want to know, what do the people get paid here in Lincoln versus in Hawaii, because who doesn't want to go to Hawaii? You absolutely can look at that and switch and do the comparison, or you can see where they're getting paid here versus up in Omaha. But one of the biggest pieces that we always want to make sure we're paying attention to are all the veterans that we have. And as you can see a lot on the veterans side where it says attention veterans and the apprenticeship.gov. If we move to the next slide where it says the attention veterans, so if we go to the next one, this is where it takes you to. It's called My Next Move. And we really, really want to make sure that everybody knows that everybody's had that veteran resume that has come through that has the military jargon. And unless you're a military person, you don't necessarily know what they just said actually translate into exactly what you are looking for. So this website, you can type it in through the keywords, through the industry. I liked my last job. And you can really kind of start typing in what it is that they're saying. Now, on our end, my coworkers who are actually working with those veterans, they are working really hard to translate back into civilian terms to make sure that that you guys are not having to do any of the extra work. But sometimes people want to be able to go and do it on their own. So this is just a really good way and a really good transition to be able to help maybe hire some more of the veterans that are out there job seeking. So if we move on to the next one. We also always want to point out, in the state of Nebraska, veterans do receive the priority of service. So if you and your company, or if you yourself or somebody in your family is a veteran, or you're wanting to work more with them, we have some fantastic people out there who are tasked with only focusing in on veterans, and we definitely want to make sure that we get you guys connected to them, be it the business side of things or the job seeker side of things. There are some amazing programs that are throughout the entire state. So if you want any more information on that, please let me know. We'll move on to the next one. So I just kind of wanted to also touch on with the AnyWorks website, not only can you do your job descriptions, but you can also see what's going on with labor market information. ONET gives you a really fantastic job on kind of real time nationwide what's going on, but AnyWorks can give you a really good snapshot of what's going on here and going on locally. I just did this screenshot at about 4:30 yesterday. So you can kind of see where we're at, with our unemployment rates are at, some of the different resources. So really it kind of depends on which piece it is that you're really wanting to focus in on. There are options and there are websites out there for you. And this is my job, to make sure that you shoot me an email, give me a phone call. I'll be more than happy to nerd out on employment statistics with you for as long as you want. But this, just so you know, when you're on the main page, you just click on the labor market information. This is what it brings up. And everything that's blue and underlined is something that you can click on to give you more information on that. So if we go to the next one. This is our Nebraska Department of Labor website. So our government website that has all of the different, anything that you could ever possibly want to know about anything and everything unemployment and where we're at Nebraska wise, it's here. So you've got obviously the AnyWorks piece of it, the employment and training, that's really my focus on things. But if you're the business and you're needing to do the filing on unemployment, you have questions on how to file, how to respond to claims. A lot of this information is in there, plus wherever we're at. So, you know, when the CARES Act information came out, this was the first place that it got put, and then we got to make sure that we got it sifted out from there. One of the biggest pieces, and it's the website that I have listed, or the link that I have listed down at the bottom, If you have not had new labor law posters since April, this is the connection. We all know that there are lots and lots of people who send emails saying, pay our $100 and we'll get you the latest labor law posters. You actually don't have to pay for those. You can click on this link down here and it will take you to the most recent, both federal and state labor law posters. And then you can get them printed and make sure that you're up to date on all of your information. And that should be all that, so that's all I have on that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Erica. Next, we are going to hear from Jessica, and she's going to give us some insight on actually how a business has I'm going to use the word of the year, pivoted and adapted. And she's going to share everything that Nelnet has been doing. So.
Awesome. Thanks, Kayla. And I did take very detailed notes on what you wanted me to talk about, so I shouldn't miss anything, unlike our friend Brian. All right. So, sorry, didn't mean to call you out, Brian. So obviously this spring threw a big wrench in a lot of people's plans. A lot of things changed. We did have to pivot. My other word of the year is unprecedented. A lot of unprecedented things happened this year. But I would say that our organization had done a lot to prepare for something like this. We do have a response team that was in place. We thought that we'd never have to use it, but here we are 6 months later, and we did have to use it. So I would say overall our organization was positioned really well to handle something like this, and I definitely attribute that to our leadership being very forward thinking and being able to anticipate, different things that would go on in the world. They definitely stayed on top of a lot of other countries and knew kind of what was going on there. So I do believe that they had an idea that this was going to be coming. So immediately when we found out that we would be moving to working from home, people were worried, are we going to be able to do this? We have over 6,600 employees in over 30 locations across the United States. So it was initially kind of a shock, and people questioned, what would servicing be like from all of these different locations? But luckily, within a week, we were able to transition over 6,000 of those 6,600 associates to their homes. That includes having monitors and their headsets and all of their equipment that they needed to do their job. So that was pretty amazing to see everybody kick into action. Our IT team obviously worked around the clock to make sure that they were able to make this transition happen. The week before we moved to work from home, our VPN size tripled. So again, I feel like that anticipation of what was to come really helped us better prepare for what we were going to have to deal with. Obviously, the learning curve did come with this also. It wasn't all rainbows and sunshine. It has been, there are days that are easier than others, but teaching people to work from home as well as onboarding new associates, that's been something that has definitely been an opportunity for us to learn and grow in. We had a process in place for remote hires, but those were very few and far between, not something that we really had to do very often. Then you go from that to every single person being a remote hire. So we essentially had to change our whole onboarding process. It was something that we had always thought about doing, but then we were kind of forced into it, and that proved to be very successful. It was like we just needed a push to make the jump. And so now our entire onboarding process, everything from completing government clearance paperwork to filling out your IT requests to being able to fingerprint electronically. Fingerprints are required to work on the government contract, and there are so many. One of the biggest parts was you couldn't even go into a police station and get fingerprinted I believe in a lot of locations that's still going on now. So we really had to adapt and change the way we did things, because you couldn't go somewhere and do these sort of things. So everything from I-9s, background checks, electronic chain of commands for drug testing, all online now. So that has it moving forward. It's going to make our process so much more simple. And so, this was one of the benefits of COVID, being able to just take a leap of faith and start. Today is the day. We're not going to wait for the future anymore. And overall, what we found is our teams have been much more productive from home. We just had a pulse survey, and over 70% of our associates do not want to return to the office full time once we're able to. There were about 40% that wanted a hybrid work from home and in the office model, and then 30% that did not want to return to the office at all. And what we found is our engagement is actually higher. Prior to COVID, our engagement score has bumped up 5 points. So that's very interesting, because you worry about people being less engaged being at home and not being connected, but that hasn't been the case so far within our organization. So also the type of work that the majority of our call centers are doing has changed. Everybody knows that we do employ almost half of our workforce in our call centers, and obviously with student loans going into forbearance until next year, that posed a big question mark, and a lot of people immediately were like, okay, we're all gone now. We're going to have to do layoffs. To date, we have not had to lay anyone off. Again, looking at our leadership's ability to anticipate and think forward, immediately within just a couple of months of being work from home, we signed new BPOs. So these do include like a DWD contract with Nebraska and Wisconsin. So that's doing contact tracing calls. If any of you have been called by a contact tracer, they may have been a NELNET associate. As well as working on DHHS contracts. So to Brian's point of what he was saying, obviously unemployment claims skyrocketed. And what do you need when you have additional unemployment claims? People to help process those claims and take the calls and help people walk through that. So we were able to deploy some of our call center operations there also. So we are currently assessing whether that will continue. Obviously, we are fingers crossed that things will not be like this forever, and we will not have this level of unemployment forever. So, we're still assessing what the need is going to be in the future, but just knowing that we have that ability to pivot and adopt new processes, work with other organizations to make sure that, we're meeting the needs of the economy, we're meeting the needs of the people that we are here to serve, and that our associates are safe and healthy and happy and engaged. That's really the most that we could ask for. And then the last part that we were going to talk about was this was also an opportunity for growth. Not only, obviously, a lot of people lost opportunities that they were going to be starting this year. And that did include young professionals who were going to be taking internships or who were going to be studying abroad, based on their school schedule. They were not able to do so due to COVID. So we had received a very large number of reach outs with students saying, hey, this is a last effort, but I don't have a job anymore this summer. Is there anything you can do for me? Instead of saying no and either reducing the size of our program or just not being apathetic or being apathetic to their situation, our leadership saw this as an opportunity to help invest in the community, help invest in young professionals, help invest in our company and the direction, the innovation that students bring. So we were able to hire an additional 24 interns to bring on this past summer. So we had over 80 interns with us this summer. And the other cool thing about it was these were interns from all across the United States. I think we were in like 21 different cities this summer. And so that was the most diverse that we've been as far as geographic locations. Obviously, along with that comes diversity of thought, diversity of experiences, where we had been the majority of our internships have been based here in Lincoln. So that was a really great opportunity, and it really sent a message to our organization that, we are going to adapt. We aren't going to just follow the straight line because it's what we had planned, that we can make changes. And a lot of these interns have chosen to stay on with us this fall, and it has helped us, create a better footprint in locations that we haven't been before. So it's made recruitment this fall easier, and it's been very interesting to see now, as we move forward with a fully remote workforce, the opportunities are really endless. We've gone into this fall recruitment season just knowing that there aren't any real restrictions on where we can recruit from. So we've been able to meet with schools that we haven't met with before. We've been able to tell students that, hey, previously you probably wouldn't have looked at us because we're in a location that may not be, any of our locations may not have appealed to you, but now you can work from home, and you can still be engaged with your team. You can still participate in networking activities, and it's going to be okay. So we've met with a lot of great students, and we're really excited to see what this does for the growth and diversity of our population moving forward. Kayla, I think I hit all of your points, but let me know if there is anything I missed.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm now going to ask you guys, Erica and Brian, I know we've heard from Jessica pretty well on this topic, but can you share some of the silver linings that you've seen, whether that be through working with the businesses or even maybe a personal silver lining that you've seen during these last few months?
Yeah, so one silver lining just got late last night. So many of you may know about a company called General Dynamics. They're at 27th and Cornhusker. They're a global company. They make weapons for the military. So we make missile tubes right here at 27th and Cornhusker. Very well-paying jobs that are entry level, don't require previous experience to get in. For many years, they weren't hiring just because they didn't have any turnover. But how they've grown the company, they've expanded the building, and we have what's called the Lincoln Manufacturing Class. This is a 6-week class with people with no previous manufacturing experience who want to get into manufacturing. So it teaches the basics of safety, measurement, reading work orders, things like that, being responsible at work. So kind of being like the opposite of Micah, something along those lines. Micah, we're looking at you. He's not paying attention. There he is. And so anyway, we have this 6-week class and really focused on new Americans, immigrants, and refugees, but also getting more women into manufacturing. And I got a photo late last night from one of our HR partners at General Dynamics. One of our people who got through the class, she'd worked entry-level retail. She was working dispatch at a cab company. She got hired there 3 months ago, and she's already been promoted to team lead. So she went from making about $9.50 an hour, $10 an hour when I was talking to her when she joined the class, took the 6-week class. She's now making $26 an hour. That's $52,000 a year. That is life-changing for her and her 3 kids under 10. I know because I hung out in the childcare room of the manufacturing class, because that's my role, not to teach the class, to be childcare. So it's a lot of fun. So it's kind of a silver lining to see people be successful into this class. And it just happened to work out that manufacturing has really done pretty well through the recession, or not through the recession. I'm a child of 2008. Through COVID, we've seen a lot of hiring in manufacturing. So I would say overall, our big silver lining is we've seen some success helping people move from entry-level part-time jobs or the restaurant industry where they got laid off into full-time positions in growing fields. We've also seen this successfully at Tabitha Health and Brian, people who are doing food service and restaurants moving over to food service and hospitality and healthcare. The great thing about that is predictable hours, full-time benefits, career pathway. So we're seeing some really cool things happen. And we're making fun of Micah, which is awesome.
See, I knew I should have gone before Brian. Ugh, how am I supposed to follow that? Micah, I won't pick on you. I'll be nice. Miss seeing you in the hallways, though. No, I cannot get that. I guess some of the stuff that I have been excited to watch our drive-through job fairs. I really want to brag on those. It started off with me telling Brian back in April, I'm like, hey, I want to do this. And he's like, sure. Not quite sure how we were going to do it. And then with kind of the discussions of what do we do, like 200 bags? I'm like, well, let's just try. Let's just try 500. And we got them all handed out, and it was fantastic. And just from there, watching it grow and watching all the other states copy us, which was fantastic as the summer went through. 8 states, 8 different states following us, watching Omaha pick it up. Like, it was really cool to watch all of the different information sharing that was going on, and the teamwork that was involved in it, and how we have all been able to pull together and try different things, because what used to work doesn't work. So we all have to be willing to embrace new ideas. And for the most part, everybody has been really willing to jump on that board and try new and different things. And even with EmployLink in and of itself, we've been able to bring on some new partners that maybe they were just on board getting emails before, but now they're actually coming into the meetings and they're helping out. They're doing some, some more idea sharing, which is fantastic. I mean, I love working with Brian, but the more people I can talk to that is not Brian, makes my life, my day way more interesting. So I love to see just the community pulling together and everybody trying to help everybody else. I don't necessarily know that these drive-through job fairs would have been successful pre-COVID. And so it has really been fantastic to watch the evolution of the whole thing.
Wonderful. Well, with that, I'm going to open it up for questions from the audience, and you can feel free to turn your video on, friends, if you would like. We would love to see your smiling faces, but shoot us in the chat. I know one of our favorite questions through this whole thing is, what is your favorite example of a business being innovative? I know we have talked about a lot of them. If you have any extras, and this can be, I know I will give you an example that one of my favorites is to-go margaritas. I know Brian's going to make some comment about me having some sort of drink here, but I promise that I don't. But it is one of my favorites. But do you guys have any examples?
Is that for the three of us? Kayla, are you saying for the audience?
No, for the three of you.
Oh, okay. All right. So the one that pops into my mind is for those of you who visit the Air Park area of our community, there's a company out there called Agility Fuel Solutions. It's really cool. They make carbon fiber tanks. So they're these big tanks that you can like lift up. They weigh like 50 pounds, but they're super strong. They're for alternative fuel vehicles. And they've been another company that's worked with Erica and I to really bring on a lot of English language learners. So they've got a lot of Arabic speakers, a lot of Spanish speakers. They've got Burmese folks. They got all kinds of people. And they've just been really innovative in kind of partnering people together, creating cohorts. They brought in Lincoln Literacy to teach English before and after shifts for people that want to build up their English skills. So I see them as just a really innovative company. They're doing cool things. They hired a person out of our manufacturing class who didn't complete high school. He dropped out of high school. He dropped out of GED. And his GED counselor called me and was like, can you just take this kid, really take him off my hands. Like, this kid's killing me. And he got hired at Agility, and now he's making like $22 an hour. He's doing great. And he gets to blow stuff up for a living because they have to blow up a certain number of tanks to test the strength. And he gets to be the guy who gets on this giant factory and is like, we're doing a stress test. We're going to blow up tank number 4, and boom, he blows it up. So anyway, it's really cool to see a company who's willing to take on people who maybe weren't successful in our traditional high school system, people who are new here from other countries. They hired a guy, it turned out he was a master draftsman from Iraq. Now he's just doing wonderful. So they're a great example of a company who kind of does what it takes to build talent in the manufacturing industry.
All right, I do have a question. Any retail restaurants trying to figure out how to do Husker game days in the coming weeks? Have any of our panelists have any thoughts on that?
I guess a clarification on the question. You're wondering if any of the retails, like how they plan on embracing it?
Yeah, have you guys been hearing anything about the places downtown or just around Lincoln trying to adapt for game days this year?
Everybody continues to work with the health department and figuring out where we're at guidelines wise. We still have a whole month before we've got, okay, not a whole month, a little less than a month before we've got that first game. So from anybody that I have talked to, it has been a lot more of a, well, if it's what we're supposed to be doing, I guess, we'll kind of wait and see. But isn't that the answer to everything this year? We'll wait and see what happens. I don't necessarily know if there has been an official, here's how this is going to work. But as soon as anybody knows about it, and we'll get it shared out. And if I hear about it, I'll make sure I'll send you over an email, Micah.
Yeah, and so Kayla and I work with the Convention and Visitors Bureau, which is part of our Chamber of Commerce, and they were instrumental in helping get kind of relaxed restrictions to where people could set up tables kind of on Canopy Street, kind of expanding out so you have more social distancing. Those rules have been extended. They were scheduled to end at the end of September. They're now scheduled at the end of October. So Micah, that's what I see the most is the ability for restaurants and bars to kind of push out a little bit if they can into outdoor spaces. Of course, this is Nebraska, so a 75-degree day could be followed by a 4-degree day. But that's what I see. We haven't seen a huge increase in the number of restaurants and bars hiring, but to Erica's point, I think that'll be real close to the actual date. Just because we're seeing so many football games get canceled that are scheduled for this weekend. If I was a bar owner, I'd probably wait till the very last second to make my hire. So Eric and I will probably be scrambling with sharing the information once it comes out.
Wonderful. Well, if we don't have any more questions, and if you three don't have anything extra you want to chime in on, awesome. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. Lincoln YPG is proud to organize this event and all of the events this week. You can learn more about the rest of the things we have going on. We still have quite a few events for the rest of the week at lincolnypg.com. We're able to host these events because of the support of our sponsors and our members. So if you're not already a member of YPG, please consider joining. You can find out all about it on our website, and you can even sign up right through there. It's pretty slick and easy. Again, thank you for joining us. We hope to see you through the rest of the week.